Welcome to the Nutrition Wellness. Today, we are going to talk about the number one killer in the world. We aren't talking about a virus. We aren't talking about accidents. We are talking about cardiovascular disease. Specifically, the blockage of your arteries. If you are watching this, chances are you or someone you love has been told they have high cholesterol or plaque buildup. You've probably been given the standard advice: cut the saturated fat, stop eating eggs, eat more oatmeal, take a statin. But if that advice is so perfect, why is heart disease still the leading cause of death globally? Why are people who follow the low-fat guidelines still having heart attacks? Because the model we have been taught, the idea that your arteries are just like kitchen pipes getting clogged with grease, is fundamentally wrong. It is a gross oversimplification of human biology. Today, we are going to completely dismantle that myth. We are going to look at what actually causes plaque. We are going to talk about the calcium paradox. We are going to talk about the invisible lining of your blood vessels that determines your fate. And most importantly, we are going to answer the question in the title. If you could construct the perfect meal, a meal designed biochemically to heal the artery walls, dissolve soft plaque, and reduce inflammation, what would be on that plate? We are going to build that meal together, ingredient by ingredient, based on science, not marketing. So, put down the instant oatmeal. We have a lot of work to do. Before we can fix the arteries, we have to understand what is breaking them. Imagine a kitchen sink. If you pour hot grease down the drain, it cools, hardens, and clogs the pipe. That is how most people visualize heart disease. Cholesterol is the grease, your artery is the pipe. But your body is not a kitchen sink. Your arteries are living, dynamic tissue. The real cause of a blockage is not just floating fat. It is injury and repair. Here is the true sequence of events. The injury: something damages the inner lining of your artery, the endothelium. It could be high blood sugar, smoking, or high blood pressure. The band-aid: your body senses this damage and rushes to fix it. It sends cholesterol, specifically LDL, to act as a patch. It sends calcium to harden the patch. It sends fibrin to weave it together. The plaque: this scab is what we call plaque. So, blaming cholesterol for a heart attack is like blaming the firefighters for the fire just because they are always at the scene. They are there to put the fire out. The fire is the inflammation. The fire is the damage to the artery wall. If we want to clear the arteries, we don't just want to remove the firefighters' cholesterol. We want to stop the arsonist. We want to stop the damage and help the body dissolve the old, calcified scabs that are blocking blood flow. To understand the meal we are going to eat, we have to understand the target, the endothelium. This is a layer of cells only 1 cell thick that lines the inside of your entire vascular system. If you laid it out flat, it would cover a tennis court. This layer is your first line of defense. It produces a magical gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide keeps the vessel wall slippery so nothing sticks. It keeps the muscles relaxed, so blood pressure stays normal. When the endothelium is healthy, you are essentially bulletproof against heart disease. Plaque simply cannot stick to a healthy, slippery endothelial wall. But when you eat the wrong foods, sugar, processed seed oils, junk food, you strip away the protective coating of the endothelium, called the glycocalyx. The wall becomes sticky. It becomes inflamed. And that is when the plaque starts to form. So, our perfect meal must do 2 things. It must reduce the inflammation that damages the wall. It must provide the raw materials to rebuild that slippery protective coating. There is one more villain we need to discuss before we eat: calcium. Calcium is great for your bones. It is terrible for your arteries. When we look at a CT cardiac calcium score, We are literally measuring how much calcium has hardened inside your heart arteries. Heart arteries cannot expand. They crack. When they crack, a clot forms, and that is a heart attack. Here is the calcium paradox. In many Western nations, we have people with osteoporosis, weak bones, and arteriosclerosis, heart arteries, at the same time. They have calcium leaving the bones where it belongs, and depositing in the arteries where it doesn't belong. Why? Because they are missing the traffic cop. They are missing the specific nutrient that tells calcium where to go. So, our perfect meal must contain this traffic cop. Let's start building the plate. The first and most critical component is vitamin K2. Do not confuse this with vitamin K1, which is in spinach. K1 helps your blood clot. K2 is completely different. Vitamin K2 activates a protein called matrix clear protein, MGP. This protein acts like a claw. It grabs calcium out of your soft tissues, your arteries, and shuttles it into your skeletal system, your bones. Without K2, calcium is just drifting. With K2, calcium is directed. Studies, specifically the Rotterdam study, showed that people with the highest intake of vitamin K2 had a 52% lower risk of arterial calcification and a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease. That is a massive number. Better than many drugs. So, what is on our plate for K2? The absolute best sauce in the world is a Japanese fermented soybean dish called natto. It is slimy, it smells strong, and frankly, many people can't stomach it. But it is the king. If you can't do natto, the next best sauces are goose liver, foie gras, hard cheeses, like Gouda or Brie, or egg yolks from pasture-raised chickens. For our perfect meal, we are going to use a high-quality, aged Gouda cheese or a side of pate. If you are plant-based and hate natto, you likely need to supplement this, but for the sake of the meal, we want those fermented K2 sauces. Next, we need to put out the fire. We need to stop the inflammation that is damaging the endothelium. The best tool for this is omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These fatty acids integrate themselves into the cell membranes of your arteries, making them fluid and flexible. They lower triglycerides. They reduce the stickiness of your blood, platelet aggregation, making clots less likely. But here is the key: you need the right ratio. Most people eat way too much omega-6, vegetable oils, soybean oil, and not enough omega-3. This imbalance causes inflammation. So, the centerpiece of our meal is going to be wild-caught salmon or sardines. We are going with wild-caught salmon for this meal. It contains astaxanthin, that's the pigment that makes it pink. Astaxanthin is one of the most potent antioxidants in nature, specifically for protecting the vascular system. When you eat this salmon, you are physically changing the composition of your blood for the next several hours, shifting it from a pro-inflammatory state to an anti-inflammatory state. Now, we need to heal that endothelial lining. We need to boost nitric oxide to open up the vessels. Nitric oxide is made in the body from nitrates found in soil-grown vegetables. So, half of our plate is going to be a massive salad. But not iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce is just crunchy water. We need arugula, rocket, or beet greens. Arugula is a powerhouse of nitrates. When you chew it, bacteria in your mouth convert those nitrates into nitrites, which your stomach then converts into nitric oxide. Crucial tip: do not use antiseptic mouthwash. If you use Listerine or something similar, you kill the bacteria in your mouth that perform this conversion. You can eat all the arugula in the world, but if you sanitize your mouth this morning, you won't get the heart benefits. We are going to mix this arugula with beets. Beets contain betalains, which support phase 2 detoxification in the liver and further boost blood flow. We have the traffic cop, K2, the fire extinguisher, omega-3, and the vasodilator, nitric oxide. Now we need a shield. We need to stop LDL cholesterol from oxidizing. LDL cholesterol is not inherently bad. It only becomes bad when it rusts or oxidizes. An oxidized LDL particle is what penetrates the artery wall and starts the plaque buildup. To stop oxidation, we need antioxidants. Specifically, we need polyphenols. The best source: extra virgin olive oil. We are going to drench our arugula salad in high-quality extra virgin olive oil. It must be in a dark glass bottle, and it should have a peppery kick in the back of your throat. That burn is the oleocanthal, a natural anti-inflammatory compound that works similarly to ibuprofen, but without the side effects. We are also going to add pomegranate seeds to the salad. Pomegranate helps protect nitric oxide from being destroyed by oxidative stress. It makes the nitric oxide last longer in your system. Finally, we need to ensure this meal does not spike your insulin. Remember, high insulin destroys the endothelium. This means absolutely no bread, no pasta, no rice, no sugary drink. If we add a starch, it must be a resistant starch or very high fiber. But to keep this the perfect artery meal, we are going to skip the starch entirely and add walnuts. Walnuts contain vitamin E, gamma-tocopherol, and L-arginine, which further supports the artery walls. They add crunch and they stabilize the blood sugar response of the meal. So, let's visualize the perfect artery clearing meal. This is what you sit down to eat: the main, a 6-ounce fillet of wild-caught sockeye salmon, pan-seared in a little avocado oil, which has a high smoke point, or poached. The side, a massive arugula and spinach salad, topped with roasted beet slices, walnuts, a generous handful of pomegranate seeds, a few shavings of aged Gouda cheese for the K2. The dressing: 3 tablespoons of premium extra virgin olive oil mixed with apple cider vinegar, which helps blood sugar control, and a clove of crushed garlic. Note on garlic: garlic contains allicin, which reduces arterial stiffness. But you must crush the garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before eating it to activate the enzyme. The drink: a glass of water with lemon, or hibiscus tea. Hibiscus tea has been shown in clinical trials to lower blood pressure as effectively as some medications due to its anthocyanin content. Let's trace what happens when you eat this specific combination. Ingestion: you chew the arugula and garlic. The nitrates interact with your oral microbiome. By the time the food hits your stomach, nitric oxide production is ramping up. Your arteries start to dilate, widen. Blood pressure drops slightly. Digestion: the apple cider vinegar slows down the digestion. The lack of refined carbs means your blood sugar stays stable. Your pancreas does not have to scream for insulin. Absorption: the omega-3s from the salmon and the oleocanthal from the olive oil enter your bloodstream. They begin to patrol for inflammation, calming down any hot spots in your vascular system. Utilization: the vitamin K2 from the Gouda cheese is absorbed, since you ate it with fat. It activates the MGP proteins. These proteins start patrolling your arteries, looking for calcium deposits to scavenge. Protection: the antioxidants from the pomegranate and beet circulate, forming a shield around your LDL particles, preventing them from oxidizing and turning into plaque. This is not just eating healthy. This is a targeted biochemical intervention. Now, you can eat this meal every day, but if you follow it with a donut, you are undoing the work. To clear arteries, you must eliminate the cloggers. And again, the cloggers are not what you think. Seed oils: soybean, canola, corn, cottonseed. These are highly unstable fats that oxidize easily. They cause inflammation in the artery wall. Get them out of your house. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup, these cause glycation. The sugar molecules bind to proteins in your blood and make them sticky. Sticky blood clots. Sticky LDL builds plaque. Refined grains, white flour acts just like sugar. If you have severe plaque or a high calcium score, this meal is your baseline. But you might need to go further. 1. Intermittent fasting. When you fast for 16 or 18 hours, your body enters a state called autophagy. This means self-eating. Your body recycles old, damaged proteins. There is evidence to suggest that during deep autophagy, the body can start to break down components of arterial plaque for energy. 2. Vitamin D3. Vitamin K2 acts as the traffic cop, but vitamin D3 is the vehicle. They work in a pair. You need adequate D3 levels, usually sourced from the sun, to help mobilize calcium. If you supplement K2, always take D3 with it. 3. Tocotrienols. This is a form of vitamin E. Studies show that tocotrienols can help reduce arterial stiffness and scrub inflammation. Annatto is a great source. The human body is forgiving. That is the most important thing I want you to take away from this. Your arteries are not copper pipes that just rust and stay rusted. They are living tissue. They turn over. They heal. We have seen patients with significant plaque accumulation stabilize and even reverse their condition. Not by magic, but by removing the insult, the sugar, the smoking, the inflammation, and providing the raw materials for repair, K2, omega-3, nitric oxide. This perfect meal we built, the salmon, the arugula, the olive oil, the walnuts, it's not a punishment. It's delicious. It's real food. Start incorporating this meal 3 to 4 times a week. Cut the sugar. Watch your numbers. You might be surprised at how much power you actually have over your own heart health. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you learned something new about how your arteries actually work, please hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who is worried about their heart. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss an update.